So Wyatt from Diablo Immortal just was interviewed by a NetEase website, blog. It's all been translated, and we're ready to read it here today to see if everything is still on track for Diablo Immortal, to break it down together, to see what Wyatt had to say. We also have some follow-up discussions from Wyatt on Discord. Thanks, Red. Let's check out the video. All right, so what we have here, guys, is the Diablo Immortal producer interview elite trial test review. Now, I want to say I just got back from Florida. I was away on a Disney vacation with my kids. Have you ever gone on a Disney vacation with kids? Because it is not at all a vacation. It is actually more work than me working the 2 jobs I work every single day. Man, it had its fun moments. We'll leave it at that, but I want to dive into this. I didn't get to do it sooner because I was away on that extravaganza, as one may call it. But I'm going to go through the key elements of this with you guys. We're not going to be diving through every single part of it. So of course, we have Wyatt. Everyone loves the man, and that's what we're really focusing on here today. So we're going to get into some of these questions and kind of discuss what they mean to me. So obviously we're not looking at every single one because I don't think every single one is that important, but this one is, what do you think about the first 6 professions, in other words, the character classes that the player community complained about and only having 5 character slots? Now I want to remind you, this is translated from, I believe it's Chinese, so things are a little bit off, but we can very well decipher this. Thank you, Google. Great feature. So there's 6 different characters in the game right now, more to come, but only 5 slots to play them. What does Wyatt have to say? We know that players want to try different classes, but the advancement system in Diablo Immortal is very deep, and players may feel that they need to focus on one class. Now, this is something Nemo and I have talked about many times before. We've found a way to resolve the contradiction. We can't share the specifics today, don't worry. We'd love to be free to experience all characters too. Okay, so this is great because inside of Diablo Immortal, you have your one main character class, and that's the one you're gonna be grinding all the time for awards, for advancement, and all that stuff. You're gonna be grinding that one character class, but you could use a couple of others for fun, but really you have your main. Really curious to see what the answer is going to be here, because right now we have no answer. He said that they seem to have a fix for it because everyone wants to play the characters, which is great, because I do too. I want to main my barbarian, but I really want to mess around with the necro, the crusader, and the monk as well. Specifically the monk. I miss the monk. Next question. What's the purpose of joining the mandatory team after a full level, or when you're fully leveled up in late game? Do you want to promote the communication between players, so people playing together? Let's see what Wyatt says. As a massive multiplayer online game, we want to encourage and promote team play. We know this. We've been talking about players coming together and playing together for a long time now. We want players to experience dungeon content in a team environment. So they kind of forced that, right? In some of the events and things inside of the game, you're kind of forced to play with others. This, of course, comes with issues, not being able to do events because you can't get a team, especially if you're a solo player, or different levels playing on, you know, really normal or Hell 1, Hell 2, yada, yada, yada. We also know that some players prefer solo play. We're changing the positioning of bounties so that all bounties can be done solo. Especially for someone like me that I jump on to grind my bounties to get my rewards, and I may not be jumping on at the best time to team up with my friends. You know who my friends are. Come join us in the Scrappy Echoes Discord server. Yes, we're ready for you. Come join us now. Me, Nemo, and everyone that's Diablo Immortal is there. Join the clan. All right, more about this. This way players won't be stuck by the dungeon's mandatory team up requirement, which has gotten frustrating. Happy that that's fixed. Good job, Wyatt. Well said. Moving on, at present, which means right now, the content in late game feels that the randomness is insufficient. For example, the layout of dungeons are fixed, and the refreshed locations of wild areas such as adventures are also fixed. So basically saying that there's not enough randomness, and things in the late game they may be saying are getting a little bit stagnant. Let's see what Wyatt has to say. There are many ways to keep the content fresh. We know this, we love this. Let's see the answer from Wyatt. There are many ways to keep content fresh, whether it be before or after the launch. We will do our best to develop content and continue to provide players with a fresh gaming experience. I love this. And this is what we've been talking about for so long, really wanting to support Blizzard, to support Diablo Immortal, so that we can have this ongoing support for the game. The more we support the game and the development team, the more we're going to get in the future from them. We're not just going to get a game upon launch. We're going to get a game upon launch with support moving forward, new assets, new characters, new zones, new events, new things inside of the game, which are going to make it fun for the long run. I don't want Diablo Immortal to be a one-year game. I want this to be my 10-year plan. To the moon, baby. The next question is about legendary gems. Let's see what's said here. Legendary gems greatly improve characters, but they can only be obtained by recharging, which I guess means by paying, right? Are there plans to weaken legendary gems and increase the way to obtain them? So easier to get them, make them less strong. Wyatt says we've been evaluating the effects of legendary gems, how to obtain them, and the conditions for obtaining them. So basically, how do we get them, right? We get them from legendary crests, mostly, and you have to, for the most part, pay for legendary crests, which you would then put into an Elder Rift, which then would reward you with the legendary gems. So essentially you're paying for legendary gems. You just have to go through some steps to get it, right? This is one of the more difficult parts of the game to adjust. Even if we think we've found a balance, many players with both views will not be satisfied. So that means there are players here and there are players here on both sides of the fence. Some like it, some don't. It's really hard to make people happy right here in the middle. This is life, right? It's a difficult thing. We'll continue to listen to feedback and try to balance as the players need. So I like that this is known. Wyatt and Blizzard team know that this is a point of contention, an issue, and it's going to be one going forward. You're going to have people that are going to spend on gems and want to be the most powerful, and those that don't want to spend on gems but still want to be able to compete. And to make that a happy medium is difficult. We just should be happy that it's known and that it's going to be something that's consistently balanced over time. Can you talk about what kind of effects you expect to achieve in the game when you set the two attributes of increased damage and reduced damage? Has it met expectations now? I'm honestly not really sure what they're talking about here. Let's read the response and see if it comes together. The damage increase and damage reduction attributes are designed to allow players to gain meaningful improvements through equipment and not cause the data to be overly exaggerated. All right, so far he's talking about a way to do this without making something so powerful, so drastic of a change, right? In this respect, the system performs well. As for some details we are adjusting, such as proportion of the increase and decreased damage attributes and how much each part should account for in the total damage increase. All right, so it's just about balancing. This is more about balancing the game. Now, what I don't want, Wyatt and team, is this. I don't want everything to be so fine-tooth combed, made so perfect upon launch that it takes forever for launch to happen. There's a balance. The game doesn't need to be 100% perfect to be ready to release. Things can be balanced over time. Brawl Stars has balance changes all the time. Brawlers up, brawlers down, brawlers stronger, brawlers weaker. This can be a consistent change and fluctuation inside of the game by balancing character classes, skills, individual attacks. We could do it by gear. You could do it by gems. You could do it by anything inside of the game. Tweaks here and there to make a happy medium for everyone. So let's not just focus on everything being perfect on day one. It never is perfect on day one. No matter what game it is, nothing is ever perfect day one. So we need to just remember that, please. Will other forms of massively multiplayer dungeons be planned in the future? Yes, we're looking forward to adding 8-player Infernal Crate raids, more dungeons, and more yet to be announced. So I love this. I love that they just have all these plans set. And I'm assuming that a lot of this is not going to be set upon the launch of the game, but it will come later on. It's just really exciting to know that plans are already there. I know Wyatt personally, all right? The guy is super nice. He's super passionate about this game, and he's just a genuine, honest guy. And I could kind of like reading this right now, I could see him saying that. Like I could see him smiling. I could see him getting excited about things that they're preparing for the game. Not that maybe they even started yet, but just the ideas that they have. I know that he has a passion for Diablo Immortal. I wouldn't want the game in anyone else's hands. Not that there's not a whole team behind him, of course. I don't know. This is just a cool answer because I could legitimately see him saying those words. Next question, we learned that Diablo mobile games, or Diablo Immortal, is going to launch controller support. What kind of different gaming experiences can the combination of this technology and games bring to players? Now, I want to remind you guys, Diablo Immortal initially wasn't going to have control support. Blizzard heard the outcry from the community, the desire for this feature, and they brought it, not even upon launch, but upon beta. That's a team that looks out for their community. Keep that in mind. Wyatt says, yes, Diablo Immortal has preset controller support. Our closed beta included a preview of control support and it received overwhelming response. An overwhelming response. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't try it and I probably never will. I don't want control support for myself personally. I think it's great that the community is going to be able to use it to bring in more players. Now, we're going to go a step further. We're trying to provide a full controller support for menus and more game functions and hope that players can play the game completely through the controller. This is good, and this is why. I never liked playing a game on a controller and then needing to go back to my keyboard and mouse like playing a Steam game or something to do the menus. I always wanted to have it all through one system, either keyboard and mouse, controller, or in this case, touchpad, right? So Blizzard, Diablo Immortal, being able to put all the controls, 100% of the controls in the controller, programmable to a controller, is great. They really don't want you to have to controller, then go touchscreen, and then controller. That's annoying. I personally don't like it. And although I'm not going to be playing on the controller, I think it's going to be nice that they want to give the best controller experience to players that will play in that way. That's a good thing. And the final question, the question which I have an addendum to, another part to, from a Discord message from Wyatt as well. When will it be officially launched this year? They're saying, will this game be officially launched this year? Do you have a rough plan now? What are your expectations for performance after official launch? All right, so the inevitable, when is Diablo Immortal coming? We all want to know, right? Is Wyatt going to give us a date? Yes, we plan to officially launch the game in the first half of this year. We hope to see many players jump into the game for the first time and enjoy the refreshed Diablo experience on mobile. If players think we've successfully brought the Diablo experience to mobile, we've achieved our goal. So again, he reiterated that it's going to be coming the first half of this year. He didn't give us a date. He didn't say anything more, but I did tell you guys that I have something from Discord. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, if you want to be up to date on everything Diablo Immortal and have a little tanker, whatever you want to call it, of other mobile action RPGs, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, ring the bell so when I come out with videos multiple times per week, you don't miss them. Yes, you could do that now. I'll wait for you, and then we'll get to the Discord message. Okay, let's go. All right, guys, so this is the part here where Wyatt jumps into Discord and kind of interacts with the community. This is cool because this is going to be a part where we can kind of see him just speaking to us, the community, right? If you haven't joined their Discord server, consider joining it because it's a great place, especially for you Diablo fans. Again, if you haven't joined the Scrappy Echoes Discord server, I'll be linking that down below. You can come join us. It's going to be great. I'll see you there. So Wyatt starts by saying up top that, you know, everything that he said in there was confirmed. It's legitimate. It was a question and answer. Sometimes seeing it in Chinese flipped over to English is a little bit funny. He does not speak Chinese, by the way, so he was providing all of this in English. All right, moving on to the bottom statement by Wyatt. He says, with regards to first half of 2022 versus 2022. So initially he's saying the first 6 months into 2022 versus the entire year. I can confirm that the first half of 2022 is still our goal, including all the beta changes from the blog. Any ambiguity is mostly because we don't live in a black and white world, and ultimately making sure the game is ready and we have a smooth and successful launch remains the highest priority. Have another look at that. What he's saying is the plan is first half of 2022, but if they don't feel it's ready, they could delay it longer if they wanted to. Now, I just put out a video asking, will the game actually come out in the first half of 2022? Wyatt just tells us that, yeah, that's the plan, but it's not a black and white world, which means things can change. So if it's not to their liking, if something in the world like Corona or something different messes up the launch, they're not gluing themselves in. They're not saying definitely the first half. That is the plan. Can plans change? Yes. Do I want them to change? No, please don't change. I want the game by the summertime. Please, we're getting into spring. It's like 2 weeks away. I'm ready for Diablo Immortal. The community's ready for... They're ready. We want to see the game, even if it has a kink or two. Nothing drastic, of course, but we want the game. We're ready for it. But you heard it here. You probably heard it somewhere else too, but you heard it here as well. What do you guys think? That's a big part of what we do here on this YouTube channel. We're a community. We discuss this stuff, and I listen to you guys often, even making videos from your comments. Hope you enjoyed today's video with me breaking down that interview, and come back for more. So remember to subscribe and ring the bell. Now, I hope you all have a great day and be good.